Everybody hear me okay? That's further back. Maybe just say hello in the thing there if you can hear me. Okay, cool. Hey, Zoe, Colette, D. Rune, checking in from Spokane, Jeanette, Bonnie, Paul, Tina, Ruth. Good to see you, Ruth. Deb B50. Susan, Emma, Fred, Cashew, all my friends. Welcome to the Do Nothing Project. What is up? This thing is, oh, maybe it's dirty. My kid was, uh, I mean, that's better. Camera's dirty. Toddler fingerprints. Um, yeah, my name is Jeff. I'm your host in this round of doing nothing whatsoever. With me here is the community of human beings, many of whom are saying hello in the chat. If you see someone with the blue font, that's my friend Andrew, who is moderating. Thank you, Andrew. And apologies if I don't. I almost never catch all the names that go by. So I apologize if you're saying hello and I'm not acknowledging you. It's not deliberate, but I see Paul, Bill, Francis, Fred, Wendy. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. We had a fun Father's Day. I had one of my oldest and besties, Ian, visiting from. He lives in Vancouver now, and he was here. My dad was here, so 3 dads with multiple little kiddos running around. Almost didn't make the Do Nothing project in time because literally like 15 minutes ago, my toddler had a massive meltdown on the toilet, refusing to pee. Super pissed because I picked him up there, even though he had to pee. He said he didn't have to pee, but he did have to pee. Blah, blah. So, anyway, that was my day. So I deeply need the nothing. I'm here in Toronto. This is where I usually do it from. Last time I did it from Halifax. I was out in the Maritimes. And when Andrew does it, he's usually down somewhere in the Arizona, Tucson type area. So what's the Do Nothing Project? Well, it really is a place to do nothing, to sit here and be allowed to do nothing. So I really encourage people. There's a meditation piece, which I'll say something about, but you don't need to do that. You know, it could also just be that the broadcast is on and it's sort of support for you to do what you need to do. Lay down, just sit and look out the window, enjoy the breeze, you know, the sun going down, whatever time zone you're in. A lot of people listen to it later. So it really is just this kind of permission to uh, do nothing and to feel into what that's about for you. And so in that sense, it's very, you know, couldn't be more ordinary and mundane. But there is a profounder side to it, and that's why I offer a meditation technique, a really simple practice. Meditators for generations have been exploring the idea of doing nothing, and it's actually kind of hard as a meditation because your mind is still going. When you sit down, that's why people traditionally have like a, you know, pay attention to the breath or some kind of home base. It just helps give your mind something to do in that middle term. But there is something very uh, profound about beginning to notice all the compulsive ways you think you need to do on the way to truly doing nothing. So some people can just sit and unplug and just be. But for a lot of us, there's all these layers of conditioning around feeling like we have to secure ourselves and get this thing done and take care of things and control things. And so even when you work through the obvious surface layers of doing, like, okay, so you're not going to check your phone or you're not going to do the obvious do's, as you sit down and meditate, we often, or sit down to do nothing, you approach it as a doing. You approach it as, I'm going to do this thing. And then there's subtler doers, like the doing of your thoughts that can't stop, or then there's even more subtle, the doing of your performance of you, of the being a good person, whatever it is. So you just see layers and layers of doing, and the more you uh, meditate, I guess, the more and sit and really truly do nothing and just try to notice it, the more you see those layers, and in the seeing them, that's kind of the magic of practice. There can often be a letting go, so you can find this quality of settledness and sanity and peace that's very hard to describe unless you start to taste it. So that is also on offer potentially. I would say most of the Do Nothing Project is very firmly on the mundane side, even though we go back and forth between the profound and the mundane. Most of where I am is in the mundane, but it's not up to me, and it's not even up to you really. It's up to what happens when you get quiet and just sit down. That space finds you, and so that's what the Do Nothing Project is. Um, uh, yeah, enough said. I'll guide a 25-minute sit that you can feel free to ignore. And if you have your own version of meditation doing nothing, like I said, you're welcome to do that. Um, yeah, and then sometimes people leave a comment at the end or share a report about how it went, and sometimes we may discuss some theme related to that, but often not. Sound good? Good to be here with all of you. I need this sanity. See, normally after a harrowing day with a loving and harrowing day with my family, I would just go straight to watching Expendables. No, what's it called? Extraction 2 by Chris Helmsworth, some action movie, which I probably will see later this week. But instead, I'm going to do nothing and watch the urges to distract myself and stimulate myself, just work through my system till I find deep peace. Or maybe not. And thanks for everyone leaving comments. There's lots of good wisdom in the community talking about how hard it is to sit and do nothing. Let's do it. 25 minutes. It's Eastern Standard Time, 8:09. I'll finish at 8:34. Yes, Gene. Looks awesome. Thank you, Christina. I feel good. Okay, so if you are following along with the highly minimal do nothing style meditation, it can be helpful to take a few slow breaths at the beginning to kind of get yourself prepared for doing nothing whatsoever. So you breathe in, stretch up. And as you breathe out, that's kind of the downward settling, the opportunity to actually notice the various layers of tension that you may be holding in your shoulders and face, and see if you can loosen that as you breathe out any tension, softening the forehead and cheeks and jaw, softening the shoulders, the hands. Arriving right here. Where else would you be? Arriving on your seat, your chair, cushion, arriving on your back, wherever you are, arriving here on the ground in this moment. Now the question is, can we just stay here without needing to upgrade? Sometimes that feels eminently doable. Other times there's a lot of kind of doing energy or a lot of momentum in the thinking. And so a few little kind of meditative tricks can help here, reframes. The first is this equanimity piece, which is just kind of making a commitment to not get uptight about it, however this thing goes, including any imperfections in the environment right now. like sounds. Maybe you wished you were in a quiet area, but there's loud traffic or neighbors, barking dogs. That's not going to brace against that or try to change that. You just soften through the front of the body and let the sounds smoothly pass through the space you're in. And it's the same with your thoughts and feelings. It's really the same with any situation that unfolds over the next 25 minutes. Whatever's happening is just happening. That's kind of the attitude. Inner smoothness, no bracing, suppressing, judging, quashing. It's like you're becoming transparent or something. And then another trick here at the beginning is just to do the smallest possible something, which is just pay attention to a simple sensation to help settle things down. So maybe the feeling of the breath, sound of a wind chime, tingles in the finger, air on the skin, anything, feet on the ground. Mind wanders, come back to right here. We're just letting the engine run to ground here. The engine keeps going. With the less you feed it, feed the doing, the thinking, well, we give it an opportunity to kind of start to cool down a bit, and then we can enjoy the peace and quiet of not doing. But patient as all this happens. Mind wanders, you come back to home base. We're just being here, sitting here. Notice if you're, waiting, subtly waiting for something to happen, or in other words, you're still kind of doing something. Notice that you just kind of back off from that and just let everything come to you, the sounds, the sensations, the breath. There's nothing you need to do. You don't need to go out and get anything, work at anything. Sort of there's this moment when we move from a kind of deficit where we're understimulated, we're looking for something, to all of a sudden realizing that in the doing nothing, there's a kind of surplus that appears. Something interesting about just sitting here, about the quiet, about stillness itself, noticing those things. And it's not even that it's, quote, interesting. It's more like it just doesn't need to be any other way. And you notice yourself wandering off. You know, you had a choice. You can stay wandering, which is fine, or you can just come back, connecting to what's here right now, your body, your senses, just sitting, breath coming all on its own, sounds coming all on their own. You're present for it, available. So, an option here at the end, take a few minutes. That's sort of like once you get settled and a little more settled, a little more sane, kind of take an opportunity to connect to some appreciation for anyone in your life or anything in your life. I like just picturing different people I appreciate, I'm thankful for. It's like a little mini gratitude practice. Maybe you picture their face, or they just come to mind, and just connect to that sense of appreciation. You might want to say a phrase or something if it works for you, like whatever. I love you, miss you, I like you, may you be well, appreciate you. Cultivating that little bit of care. Could be a place you're appreciating, could be an object, an animal, child, friend, family member. You can move between lots of different, whatever comes to mind. Or you can just keep sitting and doing nothing. May you be well, may you be happy and healthy, at ease. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you. I don't know if it's a paradox that it takes a whole lot of work to do nothing, but it's very true. It's more like, I like the line in Buddhism. It's about going against the stream, because the stream of conditioning is just the more you do, the more you need to do, the more stimulation you take in, the more stimulation you need. It's like a feedback loop. It just builds up in that one direction. So, when you stop to do nothing, it's like turning around, facing that stream. And at first, it's very hard to, you just get carried away with it. I think yeah, I mean, it's like the end of the day, I've been doing all this stimulating stuff all day, and I'll just want to do more stimulation when I get home. I just want to watch some action movie and and that's fine sometimes. But if I just let myself, there's like a hump that and this is why I find it hard to meditate. But once I sit down and meditate, I'm fine. But there's like a hump because the meditation seems like a lack. It seems like nothing's happening here when you're doing nothing. And it's like I don't want that. I want more stimulation. But as soon as as soon as I settle into it, oh my gosh, I see what's on the other side of it, like just sanity, settledness, connection with my wife and kids. I'm not, before that, I'm a little bit edgy, I'm a little bit like taken out of it, out of everything. I'm like this, and it's like, okay, now I'm here, you know. So anyway, blah blah blah. A bunch of everyone's got some nice things they're saying here. Thanks everybody. Thanks everybody. Yeah, totally, Susan. Feeling the presence. Lots of people coming to Omega. That's cool. If I'm missing some comments, I apologize. I'm kind of trying to. Grateful for everybody. So, Athena today felt like my boat was in the middle of the ocean with various squalls coming through. Today, my grounding kept being the thoughts of all of you sitting here, wherever you are. That's awesome. Thank you, Athena. Glad. Yeah, it's like that for me too. Yeah, I probably wouldn't. I have a harder time doing this for myself if I wasn't doing this, because that's why I started it. Because I'll just, watch Born Identity again, which is a great movie. All right, everybody. See you next Friday. No, Sunday. Whatever time zone you're in. If you're watching this from Australia or the other side of the planet, and it's the morning for you, have a good day. For the rest of you, if you're moving into your afternoon or evening, have a good afternoon and evening. And if you're watching later, have a good time wherever you are. Let the nothing be part of your week. CEC, Conscious Explorers Club, the nonprofit we got going, that does a free thing on Monday night if you want to keep that going. Friday is CEC open mic night. Actually, I'm not sure if we're doing it again this month. I have to ask Aaron about that. We've been doing the open mic night, it's open mic meditation where anybody can guide a practice. That's going to happen again. I'll let you know. Maybe I'll text Aaron about it right now. I should probably know. Happy Father's Day, everybody. See you next week. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for all the people giving me the thumbs up there. Probably that does something for an algorithm, hitting a little thing there, but you don't have to. Oh, how do you turn this off? Okay. Thumbs up.